Aloha and welcome back. Today we're diving into something a little different. Something that really got me thinking. We're going to be exploring modern Hawaii, but not like the postcard version everyone thinks about.
Right.
We're going deeper, peeling back those layers and uncovering some of the harder truths about what it's like to live in Hawaii today. And for this, we're going to be using a YouTube video called Hawaii, Paradise Turned to Hell by Tyler Oliveira. This video is packed with eye-opening information about the cost of living, tourism's impact, and even what it really means to be Hawaiian these days.
It's fascinating how the video really tackles those realities I think a lot of people face. It's like you said, the idyllic Hawaii.
Right.
It's not quite the reality.
Yeah, it's like we all have this dream of Hawaii is paradise, and then Oliveira hits us with these images of tent cities along Waikiki Beach, and then he's like, oh, and by the way, the median home price is over $1 million. It's crazy. It makes you question that whole paradise image, right?
It really does. And it's not even just the visuals.
Yeah.
But he includes these stories that are so powerful. There's one woman who moved to Las Vegas.
Wow.
Because she simply couldn't afford to live in Hawaii anymore. Can you imagine being priced out of your own home?
Yeah.
Your own culture? Like that, it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I think it really highlights a really concerning trend.
What happens when paradise becomes too expensive for the people who actually live there? And we hear from this one guy in the video who ends up living on the beach after he got evicted from a $500 a month studio.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
And it's not just individuals, there's families being torn apart because they just can't make ends meet.
It's like this poignant example of being priced out of paradise.
Yeah.
And Oliveira really goes into how second homes, Airbnb rentals, and these billionaire investors are all contributing to driving those prices up and squeezing out those long-term residents.
Yeah, it's classic supply and demand.
Yeah.
Gone wrong, right?
Yeah.
You got this limited land, you've got all these people with tons of money who want to live there. It's no wonder people are getting displaced. It reminds me of what's happening in some of the cities in Europe, too.
Yeah.
Where the locals are getting priced out by tourists and all these investors. It almost feels like a global issue.
You've hit on a crucial point there. This phenomenon isn't unique to Hawaii. It's playing out in desirable locations worldwide.
Yeah.
And the impact it has on local communities, I think, is profound.
Yeah.
It really does erode their cultural identity and way of life.
Speaking of cultural identity, this video dives into this really interesting question of what does it actually mean to be Hawaiian in modern Hawaii?
Yeah.
And it's not as straightforward as you might think.
It's not straightforward at all. There are multiple layers to it. He interviews folks with very different perspectives on it. There's one local guy of Italian and Filipino descent who doesn't consider himself Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Despite being born and raised there.
Interesting.
And then you have this young woman who thinks blood ties is the only thing that matters. And then there's another resident who defines being Hawaiian as a way of life. This connection to the land and their traditions.
Wow, so many different interpretations.
I know, it's really interesting.
It really makes you wonder how these varying definitions impact their sense of belonging and cultural preservation in Hawaii. It's who gets to decide what it truly means to be Hawaiian?
Absolutely. And then the video highlights this beautifully with the story of this uncle who can read nature to find mangoes based on how the waves hit the cliffs.
No way.
He uses the waves to figure out where the best mangoes are.
That's incredible.
This knowledge passed down through generations speaks to a connection that goes way beyond just bloodlines.
It's like the sixth sense almost that he has about the island and how everything works.
It's incredible.
That story really emphasizes the richness and complexity of Hawaiian culture.
It does.
And it makes you realize that simple definitions might not capture the full picture.
Exactly. And this kind of leads to a question. Can Western concepts like blood quantum, which focuses solely on ancestry percentages, truly grasp the essence of Hawaiian identity?
Right, because it's so much more than that.
Exactly. It's a concept that many find reductive and limiting.
So we've got this housing crisis, these evolving definitions of what it means to be Hawaiian. And then there's the big one, tourism. The video doesn't shy away from it. This big question, is tourism a blessing or a curse for Hawaii?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it?
It really is.
And you'll see, this video, people in Hawaii are wrestling with this question. Some argue that tourism is the backbone of the economy,
right?
Like unnecessary evil.
Yeah.
And others are frustrated with over-tourism,
right?
With the disrespect for their culture and all the displacement it's causing.
And the video says almost 24% of Hawaii's economy relies on tourism.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, so I can see why it's such a complicated issue.
It's clearly a double-edged sword, provides jobs and revenue.
Yeah.
But it also contributes to those very problems.
Exactly.
High housing costs, cultural tension, environmental stress.
It's tough.
It's a difficult balance to strike.
It really makes you think about the concept of responsible tourism.
Yeah.
A few people in the video emphasize the need for visitors to engage with Hawaiian culture respectfully and mindfully. It's like, how can we enjoy the beauty of Hawaii without contributing to its problems? It's a question we should all be asking ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think that's where understanding the historical context becomes crucial. The video doesn't go super deep into it.
Yeah.
But it does mention that Hawaii was annexed by the United States in 1898. And one local even sees Hawaii as like occupied land.
Wow.
He even shares this story about his father being falsely accused of leprosy and sent to Molokai as a way to take his land.
Wow.
It's a really chilling story.
It's a stark reminder of the injustices that have been inflicted on the Hawaiian people and how that history still shapes things today.
Absolutely.
It really makes you question that whole paradise narrative.
It does.
But even amidst all these challenges, the video shows this incredible resilience and resourcefulness, especially within that organized tent community. And despite those difficult circumstances, they've created their own rules, their own infrastructure, sense of community.
It's incredible.
It's pretty remarkable.
It really is.
The video highlights the captain of Section 1, who emphasizes respect and order within the village. And they even have a library, a trampoline, a basketball court.
That's so cool.
They're trying to create a sense of normalcy and support each other in the face of all this adversity.
It's unsavoring.
It's a testament to the human spirit finding ways to thrive even in the most difficult situation. And it's not just about surviving. The video introduces us to this overseer who is working tirelessly to try to transition residents into permanent housing.
That's great.
So there is some hope for a better future.
That's a glimmer of light amidst the darkness.
Yeah.
A sign that positive change is possible.
But it's not just Oahu that's facing challenges. The video takes us to Maui, which was devastated by those wildfires in 2023.
Yes.
And the scale of the destruction is still hard to grasp. Thousands of structures were destroyed, billions of dollars in damages, over 100 lives were lost, thousands of people were displaced. A year later, rebuilding continues. And that landscape is forever changed.
It's just devastating.
And as with everything else we've talked about, the role of tourism in Maui's recovery is complex. There's this business owner in the video who says tourism is crucial for rebuilding.
Right.
But he also asks for respect and sensitivity for those who lost so much. It's a tough situation, wanting to support the island's economy, but also recognizing the pain that people are going through.
Absolutely.
It's a really delicate balance. And there's another local who also talks about tourism. Right. He acknowledges that it's important for the economy.
Yeah.
But he really emphasizes engaging with the land and the people respectfully.
Yes.
It's about recognizing that Maui is more than just a vacation spot. It's a community that's healing, a place with this deep cultural significance.
Exactly.
And this brings us to this bigger question about the future of Hawaii. Where does it go from here? How do you balance the needs of the locals with the tourists, with the pressures of development, with preserving the culture? It's a lot.
It's a lot to think about.
And the video introduces us to Walter, a Hawaiian elder.
Okay.
Comes from a long line of royalty. He's seen so many changes, and his perspective is, a little bit chilling.
Oh, really?
He says, the Hawaiians left, we're going to come back, and we're going to kidnap you. And he says it with a little bit of humor, but you can sense his concern about their culture fading, about all these outsiders coming in with money and pushing the locals out.
Yeah.
He's afraid that they're losing the real Hawaii, And he ends by saying, I listen to the voice of my ancestors. They cry out to me, return to the land of Kahiki.
That's powerful.
It really is. It's like he's saying, don't take this for granted. Don't erase our history. Don't erase who we are.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? We've seen all these challenges, the history, the resilience of the Hawaiian people. What do we do with this?
It can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that even small actions can have an impact.
So it starts with awareness.
Absolutely. With understanding how complicated it all is.
Yes.
And our role in it.
Yeah.
Whether you're a tourist, a consumer, just an informed citizen.
Yeah.
The choices we make have an impact.
So be a mindful traveler.
Yes.
Support those local businesses, seek out those authentic experiences, and learn about the history and the challenges the locals are facing.
Right.
It's about respect for the land, for the culture, for the people.
Exactly.
And it goes beyond just tourism.
Of course, we can make conscious choices in our everyday lives.
Okay.
Like supporting businesses that operate ethically and sustainably, advocating for policies that protect indigenous rights, and calling out those harmful stereotypes, those romantic notions of paradise.
Because it's not always paradise. We have to remember that.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected and that our actions have ripple effects.
Okay, so what about those wealthy investors?
Yeah.
Buying up all that land and driving up prices. What can we do about that?
That is a big one.
It feels massive.
It's
systemic.
It's complex.
Yeah.
But not impossible to address.
Okay.
The video talks about the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, which was aimed at addressing land ownership for Native Hawaiians. Revisiting and strengthening those kinds of policies could be part of the solution. We got to hold investors accountable, make sure they're contributing to the community, not just taking from it.
So we need to shift away from just profits and toward a more sustainable and fair way of developing.
Exactly.
It's got to be about the people and the planet, not just making money.
It requires a collective effort. Governments, businesses, communities, individuals, we all have a role to play. But it starts with each of us making those choices and speaking up for change.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to how complex Hawaii really is. It's a place that holds a special place in so many people's hearts, but it's also facing some serious challenges. And I think we have to remember that these challenges aren't just in Hawaii.
You're right. It's a global conversation, and that's why it's so important to approach these issues with empathy, understanding, and willingness to learn.
You know, one thing that really struck me in the video was that tent community and how resilient the people there are.
It is remarkable.
Despite all that hardship, they created this community where they support each other and find hope.
It's a reminder that even when things are tough, the human spirit is strong.
And we see the overseer working so hard to find them housing. It shows that compassion and action can make a difference.
It shows that change is possible.
And we can't forget about those wildfires on Maui and the long road to recovery they face.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. But the people there are so strong, and they're rebuilding.
And
there's this ongoing debate about tourism's role in all of it. It's clear that finding that balance between the economy and the culture is going to take a lot of work.
You will.
I think this whole deep dive has really shown how important it is to listen to the people who call Hawaii home. Their voices are crucial to understand this place and to create a future that's good for everyone. We got to move beyond those postcard pictures and really see the real Hawaii, the one that's facing these tough issues. It's not just beaches and metes. It's people's lives, their culture, their future.
Absolutely. It is, and that's what makes this deep dive so important. It forces us to look beyond what we see on the surface and deal with those hard truths.
Yeah. About this place we love. It's like we've always seen Hawaii through this like filter, this perfect paradise in this video with its realness and honesty and all those different voices really breaks that.
It does. And it makes us rethink our relationship with Hawaii. What does it mean to us? What responsibility do we have? Whether we're visiting or just thinking about it.
Exactly.
It's about seeing Hawaii as more than just a place to go on vacation. It's a home, a culture, a people with history and a future. And we have to respect that.
We do.
We got to understand it and be committed to taking care of it.
One of the things that stood out to me was all those different perspectives.
Right.
We heard from everyone. Locals, tourists, people who run businesses there, activists, elders. They all gave us a deeper understanding of this really complex place.
And there's no easy answer, right? There's no one solution. It's going to take all of us working together, listening to each other, learning from each other to make things better. And that future starts with us, with the choices we make, the things we talk about, the actions we take.
So what's the one thing you'd want our listeners to take away from this?
I want them to remember that paradise isn't this thing you just find. You don't just show up and there it is. It's something we build, something we got to fight for.
Yeah. The future of Hawaii depends on us, on how much we care and how much we're willing to do.
Exactly.
That was beautifully said. Hopefully this conversation gets people thinking and gets them involved so we can make Hawaii better for everyone.
That would be fantastic.
Well, mahalo for joining us on this deep dive into the reality of Hawaii. Hopefully you're walking away with more questions than answers, a sense of wonder, and a realization that we're all connected and what we do matters.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Aloha.